So now that we know that we can use variable length subnet masking, where does it come into play? What's the practicality behind it? How do we use that to actually come up with a network design? What we want to do is look at the requirements that we might have for our network. So we have a student LAN, a faculty LAN, and an admin LAN. Well, how many devices do we have on these LANs? So let's say that we have 50 students available to us. For the faculty, we're only running 20 faculty people, and then we have 5 administrators, 5 people on the administrative LAN that we need to provide access to. Again, just throwing out some host values here that we can use. Once I have the requirements for my different LANs, that's when I'll pick the different subnet values to use based off of, again, block size. The block size that I pick is going to determine what my mask is, and the block size has to be big enough to accommodate the students. So again, what do we have for block sizes? These are powers of 2. So I can have a block size of 4. I can have a block size of 8, and it's going to double every time. I can have a block size of 16. I can have a block size of 32. I can have a block size of 64. Effectively, these will be the ones we use. Yeah, okay, you could have a block size of 128. Again, that's perfectly fine. So what we need to know is, what do we do with this? And remember, our subnet masks themselves are kind of based off of this information as well. In my dotted decimal side, let me get rid of this BS up here. In my dotted decimal side, when I look at what I have, 4 is a 252 in the 4th octet, and 8 is a 248 in the 4th octet, a 16 is a 240 in the 4th octet, a 32 is a 224 in the 4th octet, a 64 is a 192, and a 128 turns out to be 128. Now in slash notation, very similarly, which is what we typically use, this would be /30, /29, /28, /27, /26, and if you were to use it, /25. Again, really here, what we're looking at is this block size component. So what block size do I need to be able to get the appropriate amount of hosts in my network? That's all this question is asking. This is part of my planning structure. So if I have 50 devices, 50 people, 50 IP addresses required, well, I can't fit 50 and 32, but I can fit 50 and 64. You do have to remember, it's actually not 64. It's 64 minus 2, because it's 2 to the n minus 2. So that actually gives me 62 hosts. That will fit. So what we're going to use here on our 50 user network is we'll use a /26. /26 is a block size 64. What about for 20 users? What do I need for 20 users? For 20 users, well, I can fit in a block size 32. 32 minus 2 is 30, so I can fit 20 users in a block size of 30. So that means for my faculty LAN, I'll be using a /27. What about a 5? What would I do for a 5? Sure enough, I look down through a block size of 8. Will it work? If I have a block size of 8 minus 2, that gives me 6 addresses. I only need 5. That would work for me as well. So for my 5 unit, I can use a /29. That's a block size of 8, and that will work just fine for me. And how does it apply to an actual address? Well, if I had my 192.168.20.0/24 space, what I'd want to be able to do is allocate a block of 64. And I'm going to pick my largest block first, a block of 64. So I'll do 192.168.20.0/26. What does that do? That uses 0 through 64. That's the block size 64. My hosts have to be 1 through 62, where 63 is my broadcast. So 64 is the next network I can work with. Well, I'm not going to do another block size of 64. I only need a block size of 32 next. So 64 will go with a block size of 32. So again, if I do my network, 192.168.20.64/27. That's the ever popular block size of 32. So that takes me all the way up to 96 is my next block. So 95 is going to be the broadcast here. So the valid range of addresses on the 64 network are 65 through 94. All of those devices are in the faculty LAN. For my final address space, I'll have to start with my 96 number. It's a block size of 8. So 96 and plus 8 will be 104. So that will be the last address, and that will be the next address. So my actual address range. Let me see. Let me move that 96. Let me move this 104 out of here for now. Let me put the address down here. So we're looking at 192.168.20.96/29, which is my block size 8, which means I go from 96 to 104. So 103 is the broadcast. My valid range of addresses is 97 through 102. My block size of 8 gives me my 6 addresses. My block size of 64 gives me my 62 addresses. I'm sorry, that was a block size of 32 gives me my 30 addresses. And my block size of 64 gives me my 62 addresses.